do we have any brought to us buys? Any
Brought to
sponsored
you
products
by
for
the
today?
mouse that kept me awake till midday because it was chewing on stuff and I couldn't figure out why it was so loud. Like, the loudest fucking chewing you've ever heard. Turns out, if a mouse is in a subwoofer box,
What?
The fuck are you talking about, bro?
Is this a pet mouse?
no, not a
Oh,
pet fucking mouse. Fucking dead mouse now.
okay.
Not Dead Mouse 5 though.
Did you play some dead mouse to kill the dead mouse while I was in the subwoofer?
No, I put a mouse trap down and then I punched the side of the subwoofer really hard and it jumped out the back.
Nice.
Uh,
I'm
just a little bit
horrified.
grumpy.
Oh, well, that's the change of pace.
Pleasant change of pace.
Yeah, I'm not sure I
Yeah.
can top that. Brought to you by
Ooh.
the Melbourne Rock Candy, which I bought from Shiploads because of the awkward sort of, I don't actually want to buy anything, but I do want to walk out of the store and not feel guilty about just walking out. So I bought this $2 rock candy.
Oh, that's the worst.
And I got home and I noticed that it just wasn't sealed at all. Like usually most things are
Oh.
sealed up. There's no like special pop thing, and it wasn't quite to the top. So I'm thinking, were people just like eating rock candy like while at the checkout and then just sealing it back up again? And then I bought that rock candy.
Ooh. Ooh.
Suspicious rock candy, but you know I'm not sick yet and I'm halfway through it, so you know if I get leprosy, then you know why.
I mean, maybe it's like homemade and they just don't seal the jars
That's what I
properly.
was thinking, like it's all kind of wanky artisanal, kind of rock candy, old school style, and so it's probably just that, hopefully.
Also brought to you by the dead CPU fan, I guess. Yay! I still haven't got my replacements. Tomorrow, hopefully.
Mm.
They'll arrive while I'm asleep and then get left on the veranda in the rain.
As it should be.
Yeah.
Alright, let me just load up a couple things real quick. That's rather annoying. Okay, there they are. All good. Alright. Alright, so we all good to go?
Yeah. Okay. I am.
Yep.
Okay, so pretty sure you guys covered last time on D&D pretty satisfactorily. You guys set Java free, or Dava Jasura.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. Technically, it rolled off set her free maybe before she was officially meant to be free. Thanks for reminding me.
Yeah, no worries about that. Can't think of anything else that you guys missed.
So really, that sounds worse than what I did. I think, just personally, setting a prisoner free, even before she's cleared of all charges, rather than just like, you know, minor trespassing in a crime scene. And I was thinking about it, like, not many people guard so heavily a crime scene, like especially when it's all been figured out. Like, usually have like some tape or something, and then you know people always break in and grab stuff, but not like an entire two squads full of like cops or something. I'm talking about real life.
Oh,
Anyway,
it's
speaking-
I'm moving on.
an easy misunderstanding. You know, you saw all the guards, you thought they were there to throw you a surprise party, and you just really wanted to reverse surprise them.
That's worse than my deception things I was talking about.
All right, so let's get the night sorted out. All right, so most of you guys kind of like retired to your quarters. Of course, we had Vola deciding to go off and pilfer some things, and Roldolf decided to go free some Zentirum, some Tirum people, person. All right, so Roldolf, are you? What's your plan for the night aside from what you've already done?
I mean, Rodolph would probably quite literally like. 'Cause, 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 What a responsible person would do is probably go track down someone like Elith and be like, by the way, this happened. But yeah, Rodolph's probably quite literally gonna find a park bench to sit on for a while and then like go to bed and sleep it off.
A park bench. Not sure
No,
if you're aware of this, but you are deep underground inside of a mountain.
yeah, but even a dwarven city would have nice little like common public areas. So Rodolph would like find somewhere to just chill out for a while,
I think they
and
might
then
be
he would
called
go,
bars. They'd be in a bar.
and then probably go back to the diplomatic quarters and just go to bed. And you know,
Okay. Well, so you wander around a bit, and for the most part, while you're still on the same floor that you start off on, everything turns out pretty decently. You wander around, nothing, nothing untoward happens. You go down a few couple of floors as you're sort of wandering around, and you find yourself having to turn around quite often, simply due to the sheer amount of collapsed corridors and such that you encounter, and you find yourself having to sort of go up a floor in order to sort of bypass a collapsed hallway. And then presumably after a while you would give up and go back?
yes.
Alright. Easy. Alright. So we'll focus on the major portion of the party just briefly. So the rest of the night, and most of the next morning, in fact, pass by fairly uneventfully, for yourselves at least. A lone militiaman, serving pretty much as a courier, delivers an update to you of King Brunor's and Elvis' progress in organizing the most urgent repairs, i.e., well, mostly just rubble clearing. And indeed, while your quarters floor managed to escape the vast bulk of the fighting, you still hear occasionally work parties stomping up and down the corridor in order to bypass collapsed tunnels, you surmise. The militiaman also mentioned King's Brunor's plan to hold a council session tomorrow, with all the faction representatives, of course, who all, thankfully, managed to survive the attack. You are all, of course, invited to attend, both as a debriefing on what had just occurred, and also as a planning session for your next courses of action. Meanwhile, as this message is being delivered, Vorlon finds himself waking in a rather cube-like room. A rather small cube-like room. A rather large, dark, featureless cube-like room, with only a flat iron door breaking the monotony of the cold, smooth stone in the rest of the room, which he quickly realizes, of course, in fact a cell-type room. The hazy memory of being surrounded by guards, together with a rather sharp blow to the back of the head, suddenly comes to mind, which manages to make you aware of a somewhat painful headache your slightly less conscious self didn't notice until a few moments ago. Kind of patting yourself down, you find, your pockets and pouches are empty and missing, respectively. That's how you wake up this morning, Vorlon. So, without further ado, Vorlon, do you have any particular agendas on your morning this morning?
Did I have a long rest?
Technically, yes. You are unconscious for quite quite the long time.
Now, I was wondering about this because I figure how can I prepare different spells if I don't really have any of my items or anything, or if I was in fact, bludgeoned, knocked out, sort of thing. How does that work? Like with a bard particularly, because I'm not a wizard. I don't sort of look through a spell book or anything. I sort of just conjure it.
Seeing as how you are not a wizard, I guess I would have to double triple check, but I'm fairly sure, yeah, you can just change your spells pretty much as a matter of like, because the idea with a long rest is like it's 8 hours of like proper resting and then 1 hour of like being conscious and maybe like taking watch or whatever, right? So the idea would be that like if you're preparing spells or whatever, you would do that in that 1 hour of dicking around.
Okay.
So if you want to spend like, an hour dicking around in the morning trying to get your spells together,
Yeah.
then that's certainly up to you.
kind of what I'm imagining is like the bard sitting there for an hour, like strumming his lute or whatever, and just like warming his voice up.
Do I
Hey,
have
that
that?
sounds good.
Do I even have my loot?
You in fact do not have your loot.
Oh, okay. Well,
You have approximately the pocket lint in your pocket. Maybe
Do I have my
some
pants
dirt
on?
underneath your fingernails. You have your pants and you have your
that
shirt.
left me with some dignity.
That's
Yeah. I'm just going to. I'm not going to try and cause any more trouble. I'm not going to prepare any more spells for now. But can I? Is there like a cup or something, or did I get food?
No. In fact, like I said, the room is virtually completely featureless. If only, thanks to your ancestry, can you see anything at all. It's more or less just a sort of a large room, completely bare stone. Nothing sort of breaks the bare stone except for one sort of steel panel like door sort of set into the wall.
All right.
Kind of flush with
I'm
it.
going to knock on the door.
You knock on the door and you wait a couple of minutes and nothing happens.
Hello.
The sound of your own voice echoes back at you, my friend.
With my superior dark vision, can I see anything else in the room, or is it just still, as you sort of described it for the first time?
Pretty much, yeah. As you, yeah. If not for that dark vision, you'd be looking at dark blackness.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm just gonna sit back down and
Alright.
wait until like a guard or something comes along, or like the food thing, if that happens here. They give me food of
Sure.
some sort. I'll just sit tight for now.
Alright. So you estimate that about a couple hours go past.
Right.
Although keeping track of time is tricky best when you're cooped up in darkness. Eventually, however, and with very little warning, the door to the cell shrieks and groans metallically, the volume seemingly intensely loud after the virtual silence in the cell. A dwarf, silhouetted by a flickering candlelight, which again seems supernaturally bright to your darkness-accustomed eyes. He stands in the doorway, a set of keys gripped in one hand. Wakey, wakey, boyo! It's time we got some answers out of you.
I've been awake for a couple of hours now.
Well, it's time to get some answers out of you, or we hand you over, if you're lucky. Go on, get up, get up.
I'm already up. Are we doing this here or somewhere else?
Yeah, you can tell his expression goes from sort of like a semi-maniacal grin to, his eyes just narrow. Oh, you'll see. You'll see. You don't recognize his face, by the way.
How very mysterious. I don't remember much last night. I must have been very drunk. I've got a big headache. I just can't remember anything.
Oh, your head'll be aching just fine, don't you worry, you bloody wretch. And he kind of marches in, grabs you by the wrist.
Oh, that sounds promising.
And he starts to drag you out of the cell and down the corridor.
I can walk perfectly fine, thank you.
If anything, he starts marching quicker and tugs you more violently.
Well then.
Yeah, so he kind of quote unquote escorts you out of the cell, down the short corridor, and it's flanked by many doors identical to the one that you just exited from. You take a left at a T-junction at the end of the corridor, and eventually you come across a more typical wooden door, and it lies half open, and it leads into a room which is very clearly an interrogation chamber, although you've certainly seen more intimidating ones, seeing as how this room contains no torture devices,
Right.
aside from a large desk with a pile of small items on it, which you recognize as your staff, and two chairs next to the table. You notice that one of the chairs is clearly designed with manacles as part of the armrests. So he drags you over to that particular chair,
Yep.
and he just bodily slams into it. Sit down, and no more funny business like before, or you'll be wishing I tied you up just so you didn't have the chance to make such a mistake. You can.
Mm-hmm.
Well?
What? What did he say?
You can, as in, like, you're comprehending me.
Oh. Yes, I understand completely.
Yep, so you just sort of briefly takes a moment as he straightens his back up a bit. Right then. Walks over to the other side, sits his ass down in the chair, kind of just stares at you for a moment. You take a look at sort of the, just out of the corner of your eye, you see the items on the table. As I said, most of your possessions are there.
Yeah.
However, your recent acquisitions, quote-unquote acquisitions, sort of separated off to the side towards the center of the table. Now then, care to explain this, lad? And I don't suggest lying. I already know the important details. And he punctuates it by tapping one finger on the table.
Explain what exactly? Those items on the desk, or what the situation? You might be better off explaining that to me, because I'm not really sure what happened.
Yes, you nitwit. The items. The ones you stole.
Stole? No, I didn't steal these. I took them from these people to return them to their families.
I see. You know,
You don't want a deception check for that? Or you're just gonna...
he has reason to not believe that.
He doesn't know any different, though.
Trust me.
Okay.
You know, you're in Gauntlgrim. The militia are fairly tight-knit. Did you know that?
Well, you're a large pack of dwarves. I didn't expect any less.
Aye. In fact, we're on a bit of a first name basis. How's the mother doing? Say hello to your sister, that type of deal. So it struck me as a bit odd when I saw my mate's journal in your possession last night. You know, and then I found out he was dead this morning. You know, in a battle you were at. You know, with the king and all our other friends nearby.
Saving your city and all that, and how I helped that as well.
Aye,
yes.
yes.
Yes, it's terrible
Yes, all
business.
that.
And you're worried about a journal that
Oh, aye.
I
Not
just
just the
didn't have time
journal.
to read.
Not just the journal, of course. No. You know, the coin purses as well, I mean. Not enough to steal. Of course, man's last dying words, no. You had to go and rob his friends as well. Or did you not think I recognized the fact that you've got 2 coin pouches? Exactly like mine. Exactly like most of the lads here, eh? Or do you just normally carry around 2 of ours?
You
And
seem
an
a bit
extra different
sore.
looking one, eh?
You seem a little sore for all the wrong reasons, dear.
Oh, aye.
You have a city now, instead of, a toasted marshmallow, which it would have been if we hadn't got rid of those fire elementals, and you're worried about a few bits of copper and some poor sod's journal, which I was just going to read and then return to their owner.
Oh, aye. Yes, I'm sure you're going to return it. I mean,
So now you're willing to torture me over some small petty items. It seems a bit rich.
oh, petty. Well, I suppose that's even more to my point then. Here you are stealing petty items right under the nose of the king himself. No less, it seems. And now, I find you breaking into a crime scene. In fact, not just any crime scene. In fact, the crime scene involved...
That I helped solve as well. And
Oh, aye.
you're wondering why that's weird?
You better believe it. I mean, what a coincidence. Not only are you doing, well, how shall we say, downright dishonorable acts, stealing from my pals, but you tried to break in to the quarters of
Of a-
2 men
of a crime
that
scene
just
that's
committed
already been
an
solved,
act
yes.
of mass destruction.
Yes. It's
Oh,
been
I-
solved without a doubt, but
Oh, I am sure.
So worried
I'm sure
about
I
this
have
action.
no reason to doubt your crime-solving skills. I mean, that has absolutely no bearing on the fact that you tried to break into the crime scene.
Have you solved many crimes, or do you just find everyone red-handed and just accuse them straight out?
Well, and he kind of like, he gestures around the
You
room.
seem like a mighty detective.
I don't know about no detective, but I certainly put down crime. It's my job, you see. Although usually, us dwarves, we don't loot the dead. You know,
You just hit things and hope you've got the right one.
it's because we usually do. He slides over
Now,
the
very
journal
confident
towards you.
of you.
He slides over the journal towards you, and I've got a link if you stand where. Oh boy. Hopefully I've got the right one.
Dunno, have a look.
So he recites it from memory even as you kind of read it. First watch, December 5th. Damn, it's cold. I'd have thought that with all these pesky glow things in the air, lighting everything up before we even got here, there'd at least be some bloody warmth inside this mountain. Can you believe that? But no matter. Thanks to King Brunor and Drizzt, I suppose. It's just a matter now of making all cozy like. I'll have to make sure to nab some good quarters before the rest of the lads get all the roomy ones, or there'll be no space for Jessa and the kids. I can't tell by now what's better, being able to claim that I was one of the dwarves to retake Gauntlgrim, or being able to rest on my laurels for a wee bit, and maybe see Jessa enough to see to have another kid, or three. Yeah, he puts on like this really sort of so evidently fake smile on his face as he reads it out to her. This ringing any bells perhaps? You know, does that sound like my pal that you stole from? Yeah, do you recognize anything in there?
I don't know, but see, there was a lot of fire in there, and if I hadn't taken it, it would be burnt to a cinder. So, you don't
he
really
gets
know
up.
what I was going to do with this, do you? You are just guessing. That is not detective work, that is...
He gets up as you're speaking,
Hitting
and he walks
things.
over, and just as you say hitting things, he socks you right in the face.
Why am I not getting any sort of rolls of this at all?
What? It's a surprise round.
What? It's not combat. I don't understand.
Well,
It's confusing. Because, like, usually if I'm swinging something a certain way, I'll
Well,
have to roll
if you
for
want
it.
if you want to fight back for sure. But the way like a surprise round works essentially is that's how it works.
Not for
if you-
combat. Well, for combat, yeah, it's not for words, though.
Well, no, but this is like essentially the first round in combat. If you don't want to fight back, that's fine. But if
Right.
you want to fight back, then this would be where you roll initiative. That's how combat works.
What? But I'm not in combat.
The guy just punched you.
Yeah, but what I'm saying
So
is
that's how you start combat, generally speaking.
the conversation, like everything I've been saying, you haven't got me to roll for any of these things.
Well, sure, because like, in other words, if he can be convinced by the lie you're telling, yeah, I'd give you a deception roll. What's the point of offering you a deception roll if the guy is not just 100% convinced that what you're saying is a lie, but he's also gone and like corroborated with other people? You know what I mean?
Yeah, but then it'd be a disadvantage. Like, it seems weird that I don't have a chance, sort of thing. Like, it's just
Well-
I'm up against a wall.
Let me put it this way. I'm just going off like what the DM's rulebook says, which is don't offer a roll if it's an impossible feat. You wouldn't offer a roll to like jump across from here to the moon. You wouldn't offer a charisma roll to try and convince someone that's 100% like
Right. So am I in the chair? Like, am I
enraged. No, you're not. But he just like leans in as you're talking. He just sort of just stands there for a bit as you're talking, kind of leans on the table and just slugs you one.
bound? Okay.
Just sort of as you're about to finish like the sentence about hitting things.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, if you want to roll initiative, now's the time. But otherwise, he just kind of stands there.
Well, how much damage did you do?
It's not like a significant amount of damage. It'd be like just like 1 health at most. More to hurt than to like seriously like break you.
Okay.
Ah, yeah. We dwarves are pretty good at hitting things. I mean, I'm sure you saw that with my buddy, or did you not get there in time?
My nephew hits better than you. And he's 2.
You just love digging yourself a dip. Well,
You aren't
the grave's
interested in
gonna be
anything I
pretty
have
deep
to
as it
say,
is.
are you?
Oh, well, I don't usually speak to people who I know are guilty beforehand, but I just thought I'd give you a chance to, perhaps say sorry for stealing things from a dead man and his family. And the rest of the dead men and their families. Those coin purses,
Yes, their life savings.
Oh,
Worthy of death, I'm sure.
you see, that's exactly the wrong attitude. What you see is a few coins. Oh, life savings and all that BS. You realize these men have families. They might not have even 2 coins to rub across each other, and here you are stealing the last of it.
So you'd rather hit me than make me pay them back in a proper way that might actually set them up for life.
One, I don't see offering. 2, we call this justice line. I don't know where you come from, but, I think it's a bit beyond repayment now.
Okay, what do you aim to get out of this? Out of just hitting me and then not believing anything I'm saying and all these kinds of things? Where do you see this finishing up?
Yeah, he starts to sort of walk towards the door. Well, thought I'd get a satisfactory explanation out of you. But, I think I'm just gonna have to get some justice instead. And he just,
By all means.
he walks out the door, slams it behind him, and he, rattles, you can hear the rattling of keys, and he locks it behind him.
Right, so I'm locked in the room now with the chair with the chains on it, and just the table with the shit on it, and just me by myself. Is that it?
So basically it's more or less all your possessions on the table, including your loot. The 2 coin pouches, the journal, a regular chair, the table, and the chair with manacles on it.
So all my gear, so what, my short sword, my bow, arrows.
Pretty much all of it is in sort of just a pile off to the side.
Right.
The whole... everything you were carrying at least at the time.
I don't really get what his angle is. Like, why would he lock the door and just leave me in here?
God.
I'll just wait.
Alright, how long do you plan to wait?
I don't know how long it takes. He's
Alright,
not going
fair
to leave me
enough.
in here with my items and just not come back.
Fair enough, fair
So
enough.
I won't touch anything. I'll wait. I'll sit down on the table.
Okay. So like maybe a couple hours go past.
Really?
A couple hours go past. Yep. So and then eventually, you kind of hear 2 sets of boot sounds, boot walking, whatever, just outside the door, and the familiar rattling of keys before the door's unlocked. The same guard walks in, along with Eldith behind him.
Uh-huh.
And as I was saying, Counselor Eldith, here he is, caught red-handed. Not only was he, well, he kind of like puts up his left hand and he starts counting down on his fingers. In possession of stolen goods, lying to militia officials, tried to break into a crime scene, resisted arrest, and he's a bloody smart arse too. And he kind of like, his eyes narrow as he stares you down. Eldith kind of walks in. She looks over the stuff on the table. Kind of looks at you. Her expression's pretty grayish. Kind of just gives you like a blank look. Okay. Don't tell me this is going to become a habit with you.
A habit? Whatever do you mean, darling?
Oh, the whole bail me out of trouble bit.
Well, I could leave whenever I wanted, but I'm not sure this is the best guard, so he just left a prisoner in here with all his weapons.
She, she kind of puts her hand up to her face. He did that. Apparently it was some sort of test. There was always about 6 militiamen waiting at the exit to this place.
Yeah, of course there was.
Oh, and, militiamen that were being told to be wise to your invisible trick and all that.
Hmm.
Apparently they used talcum powder or some stupid... Anyway,
How very elaborate.
Let's get you out of here for now. The guard, he slams the door, like, the door's open.
Uh-huh.
And he sort of slams his fist on the open door. What the bloody hell did you just say? The look on Elda's face is like, it's she's in a bit of emotional pain right now. I like it or not, he's a guest of the king, and that means, well, quite frankly, I don't know what that means. It means that the king knows what that means.
It means that I'm not actually an enemy. I'm just, mucking about a little bit. Nothing grave.
Oh, I know who my enemies are. Oh, steals from my friends. Robs corpses. You're no better than the Thasian. In fact, you could be in league with them.
Wow.
Breaking into the room like that.
You have quite the imagination. You should stop being so serious all the time. Let go a little bit. Maybe get out of the dwarven
Eldith
fortress.
gives you a stern look.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Oh, I thought you'd be sorry before now, but all right. She kind of holds the door open, kind of semi-shielding you from the guard. Let's be on our way then. She kind of like ushers you out the door. I suppose you kind of head off.
Yeah.
Get your stuff and head off.
Before I head off, I've geared all my stuff up. Before I go, I'm gonna pull out one of my gems that I brought with me, and I'm just gonna tell the guard, "I'm sorry for your trouble. Here's have a gem on me."
You gonna toss it at him or?
Well,
I'm just
like
questioning.
underhand, sort of, so he's obvious to catch it, sort of thing. It's very it's expensive,
Yeah,
sort
yeah,
of
yeah.
gem, sort of thing.
He basically he catches the gem,
It's
sort
garnet.
of like a little bit awkwardly catches the gem. He takes a look at it, and he kind of slams the gem into your chest as you walk by. Keep your gem. This is now a personal matter. And he kind of like almost like whispers that into your ear.
You must not have much going on right now.
He kind of drops
I'll
the
whisper
gem.
that back to him.
He kind of drops the gem, and luckily it kind of like tumbles down your leg as opposed to just slams onto the ground.
Uh-huh.
And he kind of rears back a little bit, and you hear this.
Okay. I'm gonna get ready to dodge that. If he's gonna spit on me.
All right. What's your AC?
Armor class. It's not like an acrobatics thing?
Well, it would make just as much sense. He's trying to hit you with a quote-unquote like ranged attack, like projectile. Not
Roll
that he's
initiative.
proficient. He's not proficient in spitting, but
Right, but,
if you wanna
perception
do
to
if you
notice that
wanna
he's doing
do-
that. I know it's coming.
Yeah, if you want to do like a dodge thing, then like you can roll initiative. Like, because that would impose like disadvantage on the attack.
Alright, well... Oh shit, I can't select my token, because it's a black thing.
Um.
Hang on, I'll just do a straight roll.
All right.
7.
That's solid.
It's solid.
Yeah, without much surprise, you don't get to go first. So what was your AC?
14.
Alright. So you kind of see him hawking up a nice loogie at you, and as he goes to spit, you kind of manage to twist your way out of the worst of it. But some of the spittle kind of catches you a little bit, but like the the main wad kind of sails over your shoulder, and just sort of splats on the floor.
Fair enough.
The gem does kind of like rattle loudly as it rolls across the ground though.
Yep.
You gonna leave it there?
Yep.
He kind of like snarls at you as you kind of like dodge a bit. You gonna keep walking through, or?
Yeah, I'll walk out. Is Eldith ahead of me or she's behind me?
Eldith is kind of right next to you, like in the doorway kind of thing. Like it's kind of cramped.
Alright, yeah, I'll just walk through the threshold, and as I'm leaving, I'll just like, the gem was a fake anyway.
Alright, so Eldith kind of like leads you down the hallway, and you kind of, a bit of a winding kind of trek. You reach a narrow part in the hallway where there's an iron door. She wraps her knuckles on it, and it opens up, and the other side of the doorway is sort of like just a cloud of chalk dust, essentially. There's literally one guard there with what looks to be just a small wooden crate of chalk that's just been like crushed.
Good.
And he's just sort of like sprinkling it in the air, like in all directions. Oh, Chancellor of Eldaron? He's supposed to be with you, right? Eldith just literally palms her face and just walks through, kind of like wafting the chalk dust out of her way. Presumably you follow her up. So eventually she kind of like leads you back up to the main quarters, like the floor where the main quarters are, like where your quarters are anyway.
Yep.
Okay. I don't know what the king's going to say, but... well, let's just say the guard had a pretty convincing argument for you stealing from, well, his buddies. I don't buy the whole you're working with the Red Wizard's angle. That doesn't make any sense, of course, but...
no.
It doesn't look good when you're breaking into a damn crime scene. What were you there for?
Oh, I'll tell you the real reason. I'll look around a little bit. I assume there's no one there. I just thought some of those potions would greatly improve us in the Underdark, and I just wanted to sneak in, but you have so many guards for a crime scene that's already been solved, it seems stupid, but, you know, it
You
didn't
didn't
work.
think to maybe ask, or
We
you maybe
did.
didn't think that... well then, but then why wouldn't that be good enough then? I was going to
Because
say...
we know the value and the power of these potions here. If we didn't have them, you know, we may all perish down there. And the king
But you
couldn't
just
see
thought...
that.
you just thought that you would go over and above what the king asked. I mean, you're a guest here.
No?
And the king specifically said no.
He's not
And you
my
just
king.
thought that you'd break in. But it doesn't matter. He's a king. It's his kingdom. This is a crime scene in his city.
And what's going to happen?
Technically
Those potions
speaking,
are going
they're
to
his
just
potions.
gather dust on a shelf and not serve anyone. Be better at serve us in the Underdark and save some lives, no?
Well, first of all, there's going to be an investigation. Then we're going to assess exactly what type of potions are there and whether any more of them are as dangerous as whatever caused this catastrophe. I mean, a lot of people died, you know. I mean, it's pretty damn disrespectful to not only loot the corpses of the fallen, but to go and break into the crime scene that caused all their death in the beginning and just loot the place. I mean, we're talking a lot of people died here.
These are all very minor things, yes. And the people
Minor
are dead.
things!
Well, compared to what we're facing. Demons and
Oh.
fire elementals, and you're worried about the feelings of some poor people, and some people who are already dead. I mean, why are you worried about that? Worry about the living.
Yeah, she shakes her head. Oh, I don't know how things are done where you come from, but here,
Yeah, we look
Us
after the living
dwarves.
because we don't want them to die.
Aye, we look after the living too, but we do it in a mighty different way. I mean, for first of all, we respect the rule of law. Second of all, we tend to do things in a little bit more of an organized fashion. You know, investigation.
Things that take months and weeks and years. We don't have that time. We must act now. Whether it be
I'm
through
sure
bold
that
and
if the
brave
investigation
enactments.
I'm sure if the investigation hadn't been concluded by the time that we are ready to leave the Underdark, which, by the way, been set back a little bit, I'm sure then the king would have reconsidered once he knew what portions were in there, which of course would be one of the very first things. But enough of that. I mean, you've already caused enough damage. I mean, you're meant to be part of a diplomatic delegation, and now it's going to be common knowledge that you pilfered from the bodies of the fallen. I mean, I don't even know how that's going to play into this.
This is revving up to a huge thing. It's a very minor thing still. I took maybe 5 copper and some Paul
It's the
Salt's journal.
principle of the matter.
Principle. Well, you're hung up on it, aren't you?
I should think so. I mean, you're meant to be our heroes. I mean, tomorrow there's going to be a speech in your honor by the king. A speech in your honor, lad!
I don't care about a speech.
Oh no, you don't care about stealing from the families of those who've died either,
Oh,
apparently.
boo-hoo.
Get out of my sight.
That welcome sight.
Yeah, she just sort of storms down the corridor. So yeah, you're kind of just like around the corner from where your quarters are, so...
Alright, I'll just step in then.
Alright, well... Volan steps into the room while you guys are sort of, just got the message from the courier. He just left a few moments earlier. And there's Volan walking in.
Hello.
Oh, you're back now. Where'd
Yes.
you go off to?
They didn't say? Surely they got a message. I tried to get
Pardon?
some potions and then I got caught. And I was in prison temporarily overnight, and everybody's very, got the panties in a bunch because, I stole a journal and a few coin pouches and I tried to get something from a crime scene. Anyway, we should just, prep for, the Underdark. Bless you.
No one else have any words for Volan?
Rodolph's just gonna be sitting quietly at the end of the table, like eating some breakfast, and he's not gonna say shit.
I'll just stare at the corner of the room.
Wow.
Oh, it's more like Rodolph's not gonna call the pot black, you know?
Alright, fair enough. So, a little while goes past. The same guard, from earlier, he comes back. I forgot to... Oh, hello. He kind of looks at you like... Kind of looks as if he's about to, like, turn around, and then he looks at you, and then he's like, oh, okay. Anywho, one more thing I forgot, of course. That's right, the invitation, the news update, right? Mail. The king asked if any of you would like to send some mail. We have some arrangements down in Neverwinter. We can pretty much get to anywhere in Faerun within a couple of days.
Yeah, I've got something. I mean, if no one else is going to do anything, or I'll just go over to where Rodolph's sitting. I assume there's a parchment there and a quill. I'll just jot down. I'll say it as I type. Care of Waterdeep, or wherever you may be, to whom it may concern. Dear Paulin, I hate your stinking guts. I hope you die on rat feces. I hope you find yourself dead. And I never want to see you again, and your double-crossing, stinking guts, I hope it perishes at the bottom of the pit. Much love, Vorlon.
Wait, was that addressed to yourself?
Paulin is my brother.
Oh, sorry.
Double-crossed me with a gem deal.
Right, I thought you said Vorlon at first. I'm like,
Nah.
what?
With a P.
Yeah. Now I realize. So yeah, you got that down. You hand it off.
Yep.
Where to Waterdeep is this?
I don't know where he is. He could be in Waterdeep. He would be. He's a stinking liar.
Yeah, he kind of like stands still, but kind of arches his head back a little bit. Well, you're lucky we have quite the service down in Neverwinter. I suppose if anyone's going to find him, they would. Does he have a last name?
No.
Okay, lad. Well,
But there's only one of his kind. One filthy kind.
I'm sure there is. No one else for mail? No messages or the like? Okay, then. Alright, well, he kind of, like, trots on. Alright, so, from what you remember, you guys pretty much have, like, the rest of the evening, pretty much free. All of the faction representatives, like, as part of the updates and stuff, are kind of, like, busy on their own affairs. So they're definitely going to be out and about. But you guys kind of have like the rest of the evening to kind of get your shit ready if you have anything particular you want to do. The rest of the city is kind of effed up, so to speak. And like I said, the council meeting is the next day tomorrow.
I thought I should give a bit more details to that letter. It might seem like it's just coming out of nowhere. So, one of Vorlon's origins is when he was sent out of the Underdark, he was sort of like the understudy of his father, who was a gem cutter and like gem appraiser. And basically, Paul and his brother was setting up deals with gems, basically, to get them trading and things. So I was sent out with a very large, using most of the family savings to get these gems, and I was getting them properly appraised at a place. But the gems that we were given from Paulin were all fakes. So when we went out and they got swapped over, and so most of the family's money and my money has been tied up in these gems, but they're all like glass, very well made fakes, but they were fakes. And Paulin I have not tracked down, but yes, that's basically the backstory of that letter. Even though I don't know where he is, I just wanted to send a letter of hate if he does actually find him.
Yep. And Rodolph, I presume like you've like that letter you sent to Harmon Cost. That was last session. All that.
Oh, no. Because, like, the whole thing was, like, the king was gonna send the letter, and then, like...
That was
Rodolph
his messenger for that. You know how he's all like, speak to the guard, like the militiaman, and then he's the militiaman, asking about letters.
Okay, sorry.
Did you know? Did you know? Put one and one together there, buddy.
I was responding to some messages, sorry, I got distracted. So Rodolph will, like, walk over to the guard and pull the letter out and say, now, I mean, I don't know how this works if you're reading our mail or stuff, but if you are reading our mail or you're not reading our mail, the king might just want to have a little bit of a look over this. It's, don't lick the parchment, it might be poison. I made a little note, just see here this note, ink might be poison. Very important.
Oh yeah, because he got it from Bevra's ink, is that right?
The courier kind of, he looks not just taken aback, but like mildly alarmed that you're handing him a sheet of what might be poison. He like gingerly holds it by the edge of the paper.
It
the
should be
parchment.
fine. Maybe if you just roll it up and it should be fine. I trust that it's not poison.
He takes Volan's letter, folds it in half, and then slips in your letter into the half sheet of Volan's. And he kind of carries it inside of Volan's.
Anyway, so the king might just want to have a brief look over it before it gets sent off. It's addressed to Mr. Harmon Cost in Faye, he is a red wizard. He's not the red wizard that causes the elemental debacle, but he is a red wizard. Don't be alarmed.
Do you wanna give an insight?
Just give me a second.
His expression, while otherwise fairly well concealed, it kind of just blips for a moment. And you notice, he kind of glances towards Vorlin as he kind of mentioned, red wizards, and the expression, how it blips, just for that moment that he kind of like evidently lowers his guard. He's that not just piques his interest, but like he's clearly suspicious. As soon as you say red wizards, his adrenaline level kind of goes up a notch there.
Why is he looking at me though? Is he
That's-
just like
that's-
shifting his glance, or?
That's like a very very quick sort of like
Oh yeah, like just an eye flick. Yeah.
glance. Yeah,
Gotcha.
exactly. Yep. As soon as you say red wizards, and like his guard drops for that moment, and you kind of see like this very brief narrowing of the eyes. He kind of looks like a little bit suspicious, and then
Volan's
he
just gonna
kind of
do
regains
this.
his composure.
He doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about.
Rodolph's gonna say, no, don't look at him. He was somewhere last night. Where were you last night, Volin?
I
The
just
guard
mentioned
kind of,
not
he
30
he
minutes
takes
ago.
a step back. Oh, none of my business. Oh no, none of my business. If that'll be all.
Why
No,
are you mailing
sorry.
things to red wizards?
We have history. We're good friends. This the bestest of friends.
You want to
I
roll
thought-
another insight? Yeah, he kind of his smile is looking more and more forced as he kind of. Oh, I better be off. But thank you. I make sure it gets to.
No. Rodolph's gonna like hold his shoulders so he can't leave. It's very important, as you are discovering. The way it is phrased could be very alarming. Just let the king know that Harmon costs the bad red wizards specifically mentioned that they were somewhat afraid of Harmon Cost. Harmon Cost might prove, well, he might be able to help us with the. Just okay, go. And Rodolph's gonna like go back to his breakfast.
Can Volan do a history check on Cost to see if he's heard of that name traveling around?
Yeah, you certainly can do one. You have not heard of that name before.
Who is Cost? And why are you friends with a red wizard?
So,
And
a little
are you
while.
delusional?
At this point, the guard, like as you kind of are asking that, he's backing out of the door and just kind of disappears.
Yes. Bye bye.
By God. So, yeah, and Rodolph will, as he's eating his breakfast, launch into an explanation
Been
to
eating your breakfast for
Volan.
like 4 hours.
It's a large breakfast.
All we need now is
Biggest
like
cereal
the,
bowl.
all we need now is
Eating
like
out
the
of a barrel.
traditional the sound of Reen. When Reen chews, it's like the mic is literally in his mouth. So right now, I am mentally imagining Roldorf in person with the same like speaking while mouthful.
Hang on.
Oh God, no! Please no!
No. What is
Please.
that?
It's a barrel.
Are Cheetos? No. What the fuck is that?
I think they're peanuts.
Mmm. Nah.
Breakfast
it's,
of Champions.
What?
Oh yeah.
Oh. Well, that looks alright. I'll eat
They're
that.
from
Just-
Costco,
Nice.
which is why they're not like fucking
yeah.
massive. Like I have a big head just for scale.
We don't have
Head for
Costco
scale.
down here. I don't think.
Maybe in Hobart or something.
could be.
Nah, not know about.
Get wrecked.
Okay.
Anywho, you were saying?
So when
Yeah,
you said the same
so-
guard as before, do you mean the same guard that was standing outside this room, or do you mean
I
Like, we were just
mean,
dealing with the guard before? Because that was the only guard before.
the same guard that delivered sort of like the news and the invitation to the council
Alright.
that morning
Okay.
to the rest of the group while you were still in jail.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so you were saying, Ryan?
Yeah, so I'll, like, for those members of the party who are interested, fill them in on, like, who Harmon Cost is, and, like, maybe not mention that he's a necromancer, just because, you know, even Rodolph's smart enough to kind of know that not everybody likes necromancers, but, you know, like...
Would you
go
like me
through the-
to give the history lesson?
Sure.
Alright.
Can I stir my pot while I go do that?
If you want, sure.
I've got soup on, and I remember because I was there.
Yeah. So for the newbies among us, which is pretty much everyone except for Reen and Dave. So, Harmon Cost, back in the original Adventures in Fandalen in the sort of first campaign, the group came across this Red Wizard of Thay, tattooed head and such, while investigating the rumors of zombies at a local. It's near the Old Owl Well. It's sort of like a minor landmark, and there's a ruined tower near there with a sort of an old crumbling fortified wall. And long story short, the party, ran into him, kind of almost started a fight, ended up sort of talking to each other, and he, as it turns out, was looking for some certain magical artifacts. In particular, he needed the name of the sort of founder of the tower, who, after a sort of a side quest, turned out to be, pretty damn ancient and from a land that none of you recognize the name of. And so, after a bit of sort of backwards and forwards sort of mercenary negotiations between you guys kind of convinced Cost to come along to a trek to a ruined town called Thunder Tree. He went for his personal reasons, of course, and it was more or less a brief sort of side / main quest bit where you guys were being escorted around by a powerful necromancer who pretty much handheld the way to a small degree through this ruined city of Thunder Tree. And basically, when you guys last saw him, he was riding off into the night, basically saying like, "Good luck, good luck with your shit. I'm leaving. Goodbye. your concerns or whatever." So that was pretty much Harmon Cost. Brief encounter, sort of like mutually beneficial kind of cooperation there, and never sort of heard nor seen him since. Of course, he's from the Red Wizards of Thay, who these two dispatched villains, or should I say, these two prior villains that you managed to come to grips with briefly, also from the Red Wizards of Thay. There's a little bit of backstory. So now also Vorlin's up to speed on Harmon Cost.
So it seems you were sort of temporary allies.
Oh no, it's the best of friends. I'm sure if not for the fact I was kidnapped by the dragon cultists in the end,
I see.
me and Harmon, we best friends. I might have even gone adventuring with him, instead of
It just from an objective point of view, it seems that he wanted some help getting some things from the city or whatever, and you helped him in that, but he didn't really show any other sort of friendliness, as he might put it. So I'm not sure that he will aid you in this time. And possibly
I
sort
value
of,
your observations, Vorlin. You're
perhaps you're projecting friendship.
a very
onto
well-spoken
him.
young. Well, I don't actually know how old you are. It's hard to tell. With
I'm 26.
a very nice young individual, but me and Harmon Cost bestest of friends. Just you wait. Just you wait. He'll respond quick smart to my letter.
Okay,
He'll be able to sort us out. He'll help us.
I'm sure. Well, I trust you, so
And I trust Harmon
I don't trust
to
Harmon.
a degree. Don't leave him their bodies if the bodies are important to you, maybe.
Bodies.
But
Whatever do you mean?
never mind.
That's,
Don't we have a meeting to go to?
it's curious. We do. I'm not really looking forward to it, but we must attend.
So the meeting's basically the next day. So
Well,
if
who
you have
wants
any
to get some
business, or-
potions?
Oh god.
I'm just joking. It's alright.
Oh god. Oh god.
Just a little joke there.
In real life, heart
Really?
palpitation. Just a heart palpitation. Oh, fucking hell. Fucking A, lads.
Let's maybe not go through that again.
That was fun.
It was pretty good. I had fun. Alright, so any plans, any particular shit you want to get in order before reunite with the quote unquote council? Huh? Shall we fast forward then?
No.
Yeah, because like we haven't been people haven't been given their armor. I haven't been given my gold.
Yeah, that's a good point. And that's I have that in mind, don't you worry.
Rodolph will just go back to eating his comically oversized bowl of dwarven cereal.
Vaughn was going to think about teleporting, just in case he's held prisoner for sure when the king doesn't really agree with Eldith.
So just for the record, dwarves don't have an ample supply of milk. So unless you're eating that cereal dry, you have a choice of brandy or ale.
What if Rodolph
You
was
go
all
with
his
your-
time has been making friends with pregnant
Your
ladies?
cereal.
Pregnant
Oh,
dwarf
dear.
ladies. It seems like
I-
something Rodolph would do. Just sort of like, oh, can I help you, ma'am?
Just
with,
just
your
back from
groceries?"
the midwifery section of
Yeah.
the city.
Just finding out the location of all the wet nurses in town.
I am gonna pretend I wasn't a party to that.
Well, you were, and it's recorded
Prob-
now.
Probably ale. Ale seems like it would be the better milk substitute cereal.
Breakfast
Ale
of champions.
and by cereal, not having milk, dwarves generally don't have quite cereal per se. They do have assorted salted nuts though. So you were gonna make a cereal of ale and salted nuts.
We could eat some hops or something.
Sure. Why? It
Nuts
seems-
with ale. That's it's like having a breakfast at a bar.
Let's go with it.
Alright. Shall we fast forward to the next day then?
Yeah.
I did. Who dropped, by the way?
Robbie.
Robbie.
Ah. Well, I'll wait a brief moment for him to return.
He's
Oh.
not coming back tonight.
Yeah, it's as a
Oh,
chat.
I just saw that. Okay, never mind. Fair enough. Alright, well, let's carry on then, I suppose. Yep, so the next day comes. And Eldith, herself, kind of visits, kind of knocks on the door. You're ready for the council meeting then, boyos?
Boyos. Yes, we've fast forwarded an entire day just to await that.
Yeah, kind of raises an eyebrow but questions it no further.
Yeah, it's entirely meta.
Yeah, so... No, alright, cool. Alright, well... I'll have a guard collect you in a few hours, well, probably in a couple hours now. Vorlon, can I have a brief word with you? Kind of like gestures to the hallway.
Yes, of course, Eldith.
She, kind of gestures for you to walk with her, and she kind of walks at a very slow pace.
Is that because I have tiny legs?
Do... You're the one. You have to figure out the reasons for this. I can't tell you why.
I am. She's walking slower because she's like a foot and a half taller than me.
She's almost like, but I mean, slow even for a dwarf. But
Yeah,
anyway,
okay.
so I've got the good news and I've got the bad news and I've got the slightly more complex news.
Okay.
The good news is I've arranged for the charges to be dropped.
Yes.
The bad news is that, well, it seems that your thievery didn't go unnoticed. I'm not sure quite how I didn't see it, but it seems one of the guards did see it. He thought that you were going to, hand in the stuff you collected. I am disappointed to note that you didn't. But that's
What?
in the past now.
What do you mean? I don't even take this shit though.
You know the pouches and the journal? You know how
Yeah.
you sleight of handed it? So,
But surely I left them in that room.
Yeah, so she's talking about like when you did it in the throne room, like
Originally.
when you took the stuff originally.
so this is
I thought we
why.
already covered this.
So you know how you rolled sleight of hand rolls at the time, right?
Yeah, yeah.
One of the guards beat your sleight of hand roll.
Oh, I just didn't say anything.
He didn't, because as Elders was just explaining, he thought that you were going to hand in all that stuff,
Yeah, yeah.
which is why the guy instantly knew like he wasn't having none of it, because basically he found that out from the guard.
Well, you realise I went straight from that place to the potions room, right? I didn't have time to do any of that stuff.
Sure, but like this all happened like overnight.
Yeah, and?
So in other words, by the time he interviewed you in the morning, he pieced together, the guard, like you had all this random stuff,
Yeah.
and then, talked to another guard, oh yeah, I saw him take all that stuff, I figured he was going to hand it in.
Yeah, I understand that, but it's not possible for me to be able to hand it in, because I went straight from there to the potion thing to get that
Well,
shit. So
no,
where
but I
could I
mean,
hand that in?
you could have,
What time frame?
like, literally 5 seconds after you took it off the bodies to, like, the 4 guards or the king that were in the room.
Yeah, I guess so, but we're sort of getting out of there. It's not really...
Well,
It slipped my mind, out of character sort of thing as well.
sure,
honest,
but
if it was still
I'm just thinking in character.
Yeah, yeah.
At any rate, so Eldred kind of explains all this to you.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's the bad news. The king's not too happy about it either, but here's the good news. Well, no, still the bad news, I suppose. In order to get you off these charges, which is the good news, well, we've had to make some negotiations.
Well,
All those rewards the king promised you, that's no longer going to be a thing, I'm afraid.
for me personally or the party?
Oh no, just for you.
Okay, well I don't care. I don't care about that money. You think I'm doing this for money?
Well, I don't know, he stole coin purses from a few guards. Yeah, I thought money might have been involved.
No, it's not that at all. So you're missing the point a little bit, but... No, I'm not going down there because I need to be rewarded for doing some good action.
Right, so then, why were you stealing the coin purses then?
I don't know, I just felt like it.
That's a very disquieting answer, but quite frankly, as long as you're willing to work with us, and you promise not to pull that kind of stunt again.
I didn't steal those things just because I want to rob people, of their hard-earned coin or whatever. It's
Well, that's what you succeeded in doing.
well, how much coin was in those pouches, to be honest?
Oh, I mean, I'm sure to you and me, who are used to,
No, I'm actually asking how much was in there.
would have
Had to
been
guess.
about in the largest coin purse, about a gold, and in the smaller one, maybe about half a gold, which doesn't sound like much to you guys who are dealing with many gold.
Alright.
But for like a regular townsperson, a gold is like more than a month's wage.
Yeah, I understand. I'm gonna take out 20 gold. Listen, Elder, take this, and I'll put it in a hand. If you were able to spread this out so it didn't actually come from me, you don't have to say it came from me. Spread it out between three families that I wronged, so to speak, and then perhaps we'll smooth things over a tiny bit, so they're not hard off or anything from their fallen husbands or wives or what have you.
You want to give a persuasion with advantage?
Sure. See if I can roll this. $25?
Okay, I don't understand you, Vorlin, but alright. I'll do that. Maybe it might mollify your little friend down there in the interrogation chamber, but this leads me to the next thing. The more complex part of the news. You see, the king's certainly lost much respect for you. This might take a wee step towards restoring it, I don't know. But we still have a panel of faction representatives to convince that, well, you're all heroes and such. They're all on the same side. You know, none of us are so down low that we'd steal from the fallen. I mean, you know, even the Zentirum probably can get away.
May I just get one thing straight? You want to convince all these factions. So
We're on the straight and narrow.
yeah, but why would this dwarven community tell all the factions that someone robbed from those people? How would that serve any purpose?
Well, you see, all of these faction leaders, especially, you know, Order of the Gauntlet, even the Harpers, they're fairly high-minded people, you might say.
Yes.
And if you lot are meant to be, well, our guides and such for their literal contingent of men, well, they want to be sure that, well, your party is above reproach.
Yeah, but why not just keep this under wraps? There's no need to tell.
That's what
the
I'm
factions.
saying.
So just do that.
That's
How is
that's
that a
exactly what I'm saying. Well, it just adds more complexity to it because you see,
No, it's
No,
simple.
you're
Don't
not-
talk about it. Tell your
you're
guards not
not-
to talk about it.
you're not getting any of the rewards and all that, of course, but we're going to have to act like you are. You understand now?
Okay. What was I promised again? What was I promised again? Like 1,000 gold?
So it's 1,000 gold,
Yeah.
a little bit extra for, you know, like saving the king essentially.
Alright.
I think it was also there was definitely a title and like a mansion, in the city.
Uh-huh.
Like a manor rather, not a
What, a
mansion.
house here in the Dwarven City?
Yeah, it comes with basically land, title, etc.
Oh, he wouldn't want to live here anyway, so it's fine.
It'd be worth like over 1,000 gold at least, but at any rate. And I'm pretty sure that's all they offered you. Like, you didn't take up any of the magical items, did you?
No, I don't think anything was useful for me, so I didn't take anything, I don't think.
Right. Okay, just
So
thought
it'd
I'd...
just be like the gold, which, you know, not that useful anyway.
Okay, I just thought I'd clear that up, so...
Okay.
You know, you're still a hero in the eyes of everyone, but, well... Let's just say don't be surprised if the king doesn't act like it in private. Alright?
Well, as long as he realizes that small, saving the entire city, bit bigger, should
I
overlap
don't think you
that.
saved the entire city. I mean, you certainly
Helping.
did your part, but
Helping, yes.
I don't think that, you know, that type of bravado is going to run well in the council if you try to claim that tomorrow. So just try to play the modest hero, perhaps.
I just think the whole thing's just a little bit crazy, but, you know, I'll go along with it. Save face.
Well, this is just our, you know, dwarven custom. Obey the law, respect the fallen. You know, things I thought would be, well, just common sense, if not common in terms of empathy. But let's just move on, shall we? Alright, so she kind of stops her pacing and sort of leads you back towards the common room. I'll send a guard in, probably less than a couple hours now. Make sure you're ready.
Yeah, I've been ready for a while now, I think.
Fair?
I just need to go to the bathroom. I'm sorry. I'll be back in a few minutes.
Alright. Shall we have our break now? Would that make sense?
Yeah, that probably sounds like a good idea.
Alright, break time it is. Let's go quarter to 9.
I'll leave a message for Ryan.
Yeah. I'll be here anyway, so it's alright.
Oh, well, I've already done it.
Too fast, too furious for me.
Yes, do my stupid.
Or
I was muted twice. Hello.
or Honk honk. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. We're still missing Dave?
He was back and then he was gone again.
Hmm. Me today. Stir his pot. I don't know what that's meant to be like a euphemism for, but like, just fill in the gaps. Oh, there we go. Hello?
Right.
Hello. Are we all good to restart?
Yep, I guess so.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright. So, as Eldith alluded to, just under a couple hours go past, and a couple of militiamen come by the common room, and they have two large sacks with them, Hessian sacks, and they sort of greet you with brief nods as they walk up to the sort of the common room table, empty the sacks, and there's just big bags of gold and the adamantite and mithril armor and the robe and all that everyone asked for. Basically, all of the loot that you were promised. Courtesy of the king, your rewards. He kind of glances around at the room and then just sort of out of the corner of his eye, Volan notices that he kind of like gives a long, hard kind of glare at Volan for a moment.
Sorry, did we just get given our stuff?
Yeah.
Rodolph will kind of, I assume he's just been given a big fat coin purse. He's just gonna kind of like open it and just kind of like inspect the contents.
More of a sack of gold. It is 1,000 gold pieces after all.
Wasn't I getting just a little bit more gold on top? Because I threw a bit of a sulk about having to give away my spell gem.
So essentially there's one extra bag of gold in there that's around about half as full as the others. So you could interpret that as yours.
I mean, I guess Rodolph will kind of like slowly pick that up and kind of like wait for someone to object.
It's unanimous agreement.
Alright, so I'll just go ahead and add 1,500 gold.
It's when you put it that way, that's quite a substantial amount. All right, so blah blah blah. All right, so who had which magical items? Because there was a cloak. I kind of wrote it down, but I can't be bothered finding it. There was the cloak and the gloves, which no one took. One moment. Like just recently, you mean? Oh no, that was the paladin's hammer.
So I
Yeah.
believe Guinevere took the Cloak of Elven Kinds.
Uh-huh.
I don't remember. So I'm pretty sure someone took the Gloves of Missile Snaring. I think maybe.
There was the mithril and adamantite armor. I think Robbie wanted one of those two. There was the wand of web, which no one wanted. That's right. There was the gloves of missile snaring.
I think maybe the cloak and the armor was spoken for. I think the wand, and I think ultimately nobody ended up taking.
I would have
The
sworn
gloves?
someone. Okay, alright, fair enough. I could have sworn it was Shadow 3 that got taken, but alright, whatever. It might have been Ben. Who knows, whatever. We'll just retcon it when it comes down to that. Alright, so long story short, yeah, you guys get your shit. And, the guard continues. And, as soon as you get that tucked away, time to march on down to the throne room. And it just waits for you guys to be ready to go. Or do you just leave all the crap on the table?
Roldov has his sacks of gold, and he's just waiting to for everybody else to.
Where are you going to put these sacks of gold? You're just going to carry them in your hands?
Presumably.
Okay, so you're going to walk to a council meeting with 2 large sacks of gold in your hands.
As a heads up as well, Robbie wanted the adamantium plate.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so Roldov will flag one of the guards over and hand him the sacks of gold and say, "Could you please take my gold and put it in my room for me?" And
He walks about 6 to 7 feet to your room and then throws the bags into your room through the doorway.
Roldov gives him the thumbs up.
Yeah, ready then?
Yeah, well, I'm ready.
So assuming everyone else is keen, your familiar trip now to the Vault of Kings. You managed to sort of take the normal route. Most of the rubble has been sort of cleared into side passages, sort of almost like just pushed aside into any nook and cranny it'll fit into. You reach the Vault of Kings, where your 2 guards kind of take either side of the doorway, alongside a full squad of 4 on each side already present. Let me just reveal the room for you. So just basically reusing the throne room from the fight. So you might have to search down a little bit to find it. So yep, you enter the Vault of Kings, once again hosting the large table from the feast that now seems so long ago. However, this time the table is completely bare. The council are already seated and waiting for you, and while all of their faces are familiar to you, most of them certainly look a little less sharp, and all of them look less comfortable than during your prior encounters. Delan of Estrail sits with his squire standing 2 steps behind him. He leans heavily on the table, his shoulders hunched over, and his face bearing a grim expression. While his cloth clothes look relatively fresh, his plate armor bears several small holes with solid rivulets of metal frozen in place underneath them, and stains in places with splotches of color reminiscent of a blacksmith's poor attempt at heat-treating metals. Next to him, Lord Roaringhorn, no longer wearing his rich robe and harper colors, adjusts the hood over his head as he greets you with a brief smile that quickly gives way to a rather glum expression. The reason the hood is quickly revealed is, even when it's raised, it does a poor job at hiding the blackened tips of much of the white hair on the left side of his head. Luckily, his beard seems mostly intact, for the most part. While Morista Malkin of the Emerald Enclave, that's the Dwarven alchemist, per se, she doesn't appear much physically different from the last time you've seen her. The level of exhaustion and likely sleep deprivation is clear on her expression. While she wears the same style of green working robes as before, you now notice the unmistakable stains of old blood and a few other less obvious ones, mostly around her sleeves. In fact, The only two members in front of you that look completely unscathed are Davra Jasur, still wearing her Zentirum-coloured robes over her leather bodysuit. Her expression, in contrast to the others around her, is one of mere impatience or perhaps even annoyance. The sidelong glances she casts at those around her further betray her attitude as she leans back in her chair, arms crossed. In an even further contrast, Lord Evrain Horned looks almost as comfortable and well-dressed as during the feast, in fact. His expression, while perhaps a little bit more subtle, is perhaps even more cheerful than the first time you met, or at least more genuine this time. King Bruno and Eldith, for their part, look similarly exhausted to most of the other members, save Damra and Lord Horn. And both of them sport small scratches and their fair share of singed hair ends too. As you enter, the king stands to address you. Welcome, lads! Kind of like ushers you in.
Yeah, Rodolph will just help himself to a seat. Kind of nod to everyone, you know, wave to some of those people he likes more, like the Harper's guy, you know, etc.
Yeah, he nods. Before we begin, I'd like to say something. Well, I and the dwarves of Gontalgrim have long enjoyed the assistance of our allies and endured the enmity of our enemies. The last week or so has done much to reveal just who our allies and enemies truly are. To our guests turn warriors, and he sweeps his arms to take in the party. Gontalgrim owes a great debt of thanks. Although many of our brave soldiers and craftsmen have perished, these adventurers have risked their lives, doing the utmost to save as many as they could, not to mention stem the damage from a great forge. Yeah, he then turns to the opposite end of the table where the faction representatives are. And likewise, I'd like to formally thank our powerful friends here, who likewise risk their lives to pacify the primordial behemoth beneath us. Hell of a job, by the way. Kind of raises his fist in triumph. And finally, but no less importantly, I'd like to offer an official apology to the Zentirum for the circumstances thrust upon you, Mr. Sura. While we did what we had to, given a suspected murder had occurred, rest assured there are no hard feelings, at least on our behalf. And to this, Davra kind of nods her head sharply once, almost as if she expected this statement. But we are here now to discuss the way forward, not the past. He makes sure everyone's seated, seats himself down. And, before he even gets the chance to sit down, Lord Horns of the Lord's Alliance, the half-elf, of course. And the way I see it, the way forward is clear. The Thasians have crossed the line. It's time to redirect our resources away from this expedition to nowhere, the Underdark, and prepare to tackle them head on. Kind of looks to you guys for support.
You know, a head-on approach is direct.
How much infantry would you suppose you would like to lose if you just put on a head-on assault? Isn't that what happens? You go head-on, you lose, let's say, 40% of your army. And then you retain a foothold.
He kind of scoffs. Lord's Alliance men against Thasians? 40%. Huh. We're lucky to lose 4. You kind of get the impression he's kind of bluffing, but like, you know. At this point, kind of Bruno kind of leans in a little bit. Actually, that brings me to my first order of business, and he gives Lord Horn a sort of a sharp look. Thank you, Lord Horn. The Thasians have sent us a response to our letter. More accurately speaking, they've sent our wizard here. Rodolph, I mean, not you, pardon me, Lord Roaringhorn. They sent Rodolph a response, and sort of tacked my name on the top of the envelope. Yeah, it kind of gives you a bit of a wry expression. It's a bit brief, so I'll get right to it then. I'll get the second link of tonight. I can find the damn thing. Here we go. I'll of course narrate it. That's the right one. So, of course, for those of you who have never heard Harmon Cost's voice before, you of course would be hearing this in Bruno's voice, but for the sake of it, I'm going to narrate it in Harmon Cost's voice. Alright. Fair enough.
I'll stick around until the end of this. I'm having people complain.
Fair enough. Alright, well, I'll narrate this then for the sake of it. Yeah, so obviously this is Bruno speaking, but yeah.
Cost, yeah.
Your invitation to this dwarven summit never reached any loyal red wizard. My inquisition has confirmed that demon worshippers intercepted the invitation towards their own ends, whatever that may be. For the sake of our mutually beneficial arrangement, more than a year ago, I shall tell you my response. As one favor to you. You have heard correctly. I abide by no traitors. I will find these men. I will kill these men. If you intend to join their venture into the Underdark, then I suggest you inform the leaders of this so-called valiant multi-faction battle to stay out of my way, or be cut down like wheat before the scythe. Signed, Lord Archmage Harmon Cost, Red Wizard of Thay. Alright, well I think considering most of us are missing in action, I think we should probably call it there for the night.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
The one thing that I want to do before we call it, seeing as how like all the fighting and stuff is over, I should have done this at the end of last session, is tally like experience and stuff. So like I'll post a thing on Facebook shortly with like a tally of experience for the